Hi, Aries. This is part two. We were just finishing with the fifth house, so let's just jump right on in with the sixth house. The sixth house for you is Virgo. Well, hi, little man. You just sneak out from underneath my couch. My cat just crawled out from underneath my couch. I was like, what's going on? All right. So your sixth house is Virgo. You have Ura here right now. This is actually good for you. The sixth house speaks to you of, your everyday daily tasks, your mundane tasks. It speaks to you of your daily routines, patterns. And Ura being here is asking you to get right with sacrifice and commitment within these patterns and make sure that the patterns and the routines are working in healthy ways for you. So it comes back to asking you, what are the people, places, and things? What is the energy that is in these relationships, and what are you consuming in these energies from these people, places, and things? Do they support your pursuit of pleasure? Do they support what enjoys you and brings you inner emotional security as you're trying to make it through your daily life? Are they things, people, places, and things, these patterns, these rituals, these everyday mundane events that you are going through? Are they things that support bringing in the enjoyment of life? Enjoyment of life, your inner child, your creativity, you. Does it support you? Does it support your inner emotional security and what's going to bring you back to truly being in your self-worth, self-value, and self-esteem? Pay attention to these patterns and the people, places, and things. And if it supports you, then that's a good thing, and put sacrifice and commitment behind, supporting it. And if it doesn't, it's telling you it's time to make changes so that you are putting things towards those things that make you happy, bring that healthy enjoyment to you, bring that healthy inner emotional security to you, help you communicate with yourself on a healthy, positive way so that you can have that self-worth, self-value, and self-esteem rise. And that is what this is speaking about. If your daily routines aren't supporting you in this area, then you're actually going against yourself. I'm sorry, this one piece of hair is just driving me nuts as I'm talking. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure I got that part out there, because as we get into that seventh house, this is where you're having some issues. And at least in the beginning of the month. Let me take a look. Does it kind of last throughout the whole month? Yeah, it kind of does. Yeah. Because this is Libra for you. You have the sun here and you have Mars here. This is your inner warrior, your inner SWAT team. But it's also that inner belly dancer. And it's asking you within these relationships, are you truly connecting with the relationships that help you connect with your self-awareness, your depths of self, and getting back to the true root of who and what you are, and supporting your personality, your appearance, your view of life, your very identification? Or are the relationships kind of pulling you away from being you and really connecting with you on that level? Because you have the sun here and you have Mars here. This is asking you right off the bat, is the warrior out because the inner emotional security isn't there? The sacral chakra, the solar plexus, how you feel and what you believe. Is that, having power of believing in self and creativity of the power of being able to believe in self, what you will. Are you able to find your will in these relationships? And does the will support you? Because what nobody is talking about is how Maya and Make are also in Libra at this time, which is the relationship zone. So it's asking you, what's the collective consciousness of these relationships? What's the truth? Let's really look at the depths and the truth. And what is it supporting or going against? As far as the people and the places, the people in these relationships. Your relationships are your friends, your loved ones, your spouses, your children, your family. But they're also your working environment. Anything you care about. or anybody you care about, you have a relationship with. What is going on in these relationships and how healthy are they? And the reason I say that is because with make here and the collective consciousness, the sun and Mars, it's specifically asking you how you feel about yourself. And in the relationship, does it feel like it's in a swamp or not? Does the relationship feel like it's swamp filled? And the reason I say that is the lotus flower is make. It is the actual growth of the lotus flower. If you feel like you're that lotus flower that hasn't lifted up out of the water and hasn't gotten to where it's blooming because it's still maturing in the swamp, then this is telling you about the kind of relationship that really is truly it is, and how it is affecting you and your positivity, your health, and everything in your life. If you feel like you're stuck in a swamp or in quicksand, you're being sucked into that swamp, then that's because it's not maturing, it's not growing yet. The idea is to mature, break through the swamp, come up into the fresh air, and eventually grow until you're blooming. This is the idea here. We're looking at it from this point of view. And the sun is going to illuminate what the collective consciousness and make is telling Mars needs to happen. So, needs to speak to that inner warrior or that inner belly dancer, inner confidence, illuminate the relationship for its truth, and where that speaks to you about your own true self-awareness and identification of yourself, as well as the identification that you carry within the relationship. And it's definitely not getting along with Chiron, which is in your wounded healer. Your wounded healer is in your universal first house of your self-awareness. There's something about your maturity that you're still not, and I don't mean maturity as in like a mature adult. I mean soulful maturity, truly getting to the depths and the root and inner emotional security of your self-awareness of who and what you are on that level of depths. And something about it is kind of fighting these relationships because it's a mirror image coming back at you, trying to make you see and learn something for that spiritual soulful maturity. Long story short. Now, in the 8th house is where Mercury is getting ready to move in. Venus is getting ready to move in. Venus moves in on the 8th. Mercury moves in on the 3rd. The sun comes in on the 23rd. And remember, Spirit was saying something is going on for you to notice, or at least around the time of the 23rd through the 7th. And that's as it's getting ready to build to the new moon. So you would have made it past the full moon. And like I said, the full moon is also coming on the 23rd in Aries, your universal first house. So that's definitely going to be speaking to you of that stuff going on between those relationships and your awareness. And something's going to be definitely being brought to light. Like I said, this is a soulful maturity time for you of getting to a new level of depths of understanding you on a level that you didn't know about yourself. This is definitely bringing something up during the full moon. And by the time it gets to the new moon, it'll be time to make the change, the shift, adjustment. In some form, this is most likely why they're giving me the 23rd through the 27th, when everybody moves into Scorpio. Now, for you, like I said, Scorpio is your 8th house. This is still dealing with the relationships, but this is coming back and dealing with your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom, your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem. And where all of that isn't going along with the relationships and the responsibilities in those relationships. The joint efforts, the joint finances, the joint resources. But then every relationship has a different tone, a different meaning. So this is saying within these relationships, what are the rules? What are the responsibilities within these relationships? If it's a working environment, I mean, part of that is, you have to go to work, they pay you. You must do the job, so they pay you, and stuff along that line. But at the same time, in a relationship like a spousal relationship, it could be paying the bills and sex. I mean, what are the rules of the relationship? And are they really being joint and fair? Versus, are you being able to be yourself? Independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom, inventive nature of self. Where are you able to come into your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, stand firmly, confidently, know yourself, and then still be able to be in balance with these relationships, and, not be trying to give or take more, give or take more than what is fair. So you're going to be acknowledging that at this time, but it's fighting something about who you are, about that independence, individuality. You have Palace here in Scorpio at the same time. This is extra sensitivity, extra communicative energy. And around that time is also when Mercury is going shadow. Mercury goes retrograde on Halloween. So around 13, 14, around this time is when Mercury's going to start slowing down and actually be in the shadow period. That communication is going to be extra communicative in a kind of negative way because it's in shadow. It's looking at the darker aspects of things. Things may be emotions may be flying because you have Venus here. Emotions possibly flying, mouth possibly flying, And like I said, Spirit is saying slow down and really make sure that you are communicating properly this month. And it may be because of Venus and Mercury, Haumea, and Libra. Haumea and... No, that's a different house. Well, that would still bring the collective consciousness to the relationships, just not the responsibilities. So, it may be the marinating of the relationships, their responsibilities versus your self-awareness, coming into truly believing in yourself, that self-worth. And like I said, sensitivity, Palace. Palace is Athena, the warrior goddess, trying to ask you to strategically think your way through this in a positive way so that you're not over emotionally reacting to the relationships and getting all bent out of shape without possibly viewing your own true part in it. As well as, are you able to be your true self in it? And you're going to be definitely probably not ignoring, maybe you are ignoring, and that's why Spirit's giving me such a hard time. This is definitely about not ignoring, paying attention to the details, the proper communication within these relationships, their responsibilities, and your self-awareness between, I would say, the 13th and the 27th. But Spirit keeps directing me to the 23rd and the 27th, and that's when the new moon takes place on the 27th in Scorpio, speaking to you about new beginnings, new goals, new directions. So something may be coming to life that's pushing you, coming to light, coming to life also maybe. Something else is bringing itself to light to possibly birth a brand new situation. Pay very close attention to the communication, the details, and how you honestly are feeling. Because something, and the Spirit keeps bringing me back to the community. There's something going on here that you're going to be acknowledging at this time. Now, as we go into the universal 9th house, this is where Halloween will take place for you. This is your soulfulness. Kind of goes along with that self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. This is your soulfulness. Sagittarius is going to have the moon, Jupiter, and Ceres on Halloween right on top of each other, like within 3 degrees, I really think it is. And that is your ethics, your morals, your spiritual urges, your higher education, your higher mind, your higher self, your journeying, your philosophy, your religion, but it's also your psychic energy, where your psychic energy and your intuition is created, and you start to, be able to lift above this 3-dimensional realm. And all of this energy is speaking to you of Jupiter, magnifying it, bringing a new level of abundance to it, a new level of knowledge to it. Ceres is coming in asking you, where are you not nurturing yourself so that you can grow? And the moon is going to be bringing the subconscious in of what you're trying to avoid. And that's going to be building all month until Halloween Day when the moon steps in. But all month, your ethics, your morals, your spiritual urges, your higher mind, your higher self is trying to communicate to you and grow and mature. And it's Ceres coming closer to Jupiter is asking you, where are you nurturing yourself and where are you neglecting yourself? Where are you honestly nurturing what truthfully needs to be nurtured for you to, grow, bloom, mature, and versus where have you been neglecting what will really truly help you. But on Halloween, the moon is going to step on top of it, and that's the same day that Mercury goes retrograde, and it's going to illuminate the unconscious, bringing its, hidden self, hidden depths, karmic habits, karmic lessons into play on Halloween day. So it's definitely all month growing to that day, but it's not just Halloween or Samhain. I mean, it's like double amplified. And especially, I mean, it seems like I'm being told to help you make sure you're understanding so you get through the new moon and in the right direction so it don't plow you down come Halloween. Now, as you move into that 10th house, this is where, like I said, Saturn and Pluto are. They've both just come out of shadow. This is honor, reputation, career, financial success, financial, social foundations, responsibility, authority, the outer community, and professional career situation, professional areas of life. You have rules, walls, boundaries, Saturn, which have now gone direct but still in shadow, and is looking at some of those darker aspects of where these rules, walls, and boundaries are not in place and where they need to be shifted. What are the withholdings? Where's the resistance going on? Where does it need to shift and work out properly? Pluto is asking you to soulfully speak and understand who you are in that outer community, and if that outer community actually is serving you. And then make those proper shifts accordingly so that it is assertive, is what I'm hearing. To be very assertive in this situation so that it is helping bring the transformational healing in that outer community. You need to be able to see what part of you is right and what part of you is wrong for that outer community and where it works for you or against you, and reshift those boundaries accordingly. There's some self-undoing is what they're saying here. There's some self-undoing. So, and when I get the self-undoing, it's usually the self-sabotage. You've sabotaged, and some of you have sabotaged yourself in some of these places in that outer community, and it's time to correct it, is what I'm getting. Now, as far as the 11th house, that is the community. That might be why they're bringing it all through to that outer community of the honor, the relationship, the financial success, because that all goes back to supporting what supports those friends, those communities, those memberships. They all go into supporting your hopes, your wishes, your dreams, your ambitions. And are those people, the community, those larger groups, those friends, those memberships, actually people that support what those goals are, those dreams, those wishes, ambitions, and bringing you into the self-realization of who and what you're trying to create yourself to be? Are they people that support that help mature and help you mature, grow, and find yourself in what you're trying to create? Because apparently there's some self-realization they're giving me again going on that's keeping you maybe with the wrong people, or maybe from acknowledging yourself in some ways. Because it's about finding how you have to support yourself with the new rules, walls, and boundaries and rebirth by making those shifts. The universal 12th house is speaking to you of, that's where we have Lilith and we have Neptune. This is your unconscious actions. This is your subconscious, your hidden self, your mental illnesses, your unconscious mind. This is where you have your skeletons in the closet, but your skeletons have created skeletons in the closet. So you've hidden stuff from yourself, which then is hidden stuff from yourself. Okay? And that's the way I look at this. This is the self-deception. This is where the self-sacrifices come in. This is the self-sabotages come in. This is where you hold on to grief, sorrow, shame, and blame. and you allow it to tear you down. You have Neptune in this 12th house right now, which is all about healing and magic, but it's also confusing. Neptune is illusion and delusion. It's where fantasy smacks you in the face with harsh reality. And Lilith is right on top of it. It's the sexual temptress. Okay? So she's pretty much asking you to connect with who you were in the past, but not. That's what I'm saying. But not. It's asking you to go back and get your mojo. To go back and find it. To go back and find what parts of you left it in the past. And reclaim it and bring it back. But don't bring the past back. Just the pieces that you left behind. Allowing yourself to find that healing from, the self-sabotages that you've done to yourself. Self-undoing. The grief, sorrow, shame, and blame that you've held on to. Lilith is all about asking you to get into that sacral chakra again and feel good about yourself, that inner warrior and that belly dancer. It's one of those things when you look in the mirror and you feel good about yourself versus when you look in the mirror and you're like, the fuck happened here? We've all had those days. I mean, I'm just saying. So it's finding the confidence in yourself to feel good about yourself, but by healing the depths of self. And then that brings it right back into a brand new beginning. And this is where they're saying to me again, this is where the courage and the tranquility of peace has to come. I think it has to do with finding pieces of yourself that you're healing, because you are on a brand new journey. And with Chiron being here, it doesn't matter if you want to be on a brand new journey, you're on one. Chiron is in your first house of awareness. So it's bringing you to a new level of truth, a new level of self, a new karmic healing of yourself. And it's starting off with by asking yourself where you've left pieces behind and what you have to reclaim, so that you can make sure the reincarnation is coming in a positive, healthy way. And you're trying to work through the sensitivities is what I'm getting. I love you, and I'll see you guys next month. Bye.